I'm going to welcome you all to our first theater session in the Microsoft booth. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Nina Skorus-Neely. I am an industry advisor in the media and entertainment practice. I am an industry executive in technology and solution delivery. I spent 20 years in consulting. I spent another 20 years working in app delivery in the studios. And I joined Microsoft about 4 years ago. As I was telling Nish here, I spend time with our enterprise customers, really helping them understand the media industry. I'm here today to talk to you about some work that I think is really important that Microsoft does on an ongoing basis to understand where the nature of knowledge work is going in our customers across the board and how the tools and platforms we have developed to go through our own journey in this, as well as help our customers go through this journey of adopting AI into their operations, can be taken for media customers in general. So with that, I am going to hopefully move forward here. And we're going to talk about agentic workflows in media. The research work I'm pointing to here is the year of the frontier firm is born is our Work Trend Index annual report. Being a company that works so much in the productivity space, we do quite a bit of research in this space. And every year we produce the Work Trends Index, which takes a combination of customer surveys. We take telemetry from the use of Microsoft 365 across all of our customers globally. We take hiring trend information from LinkedIn. And this year, as a new aspect of that, we also did interviews with academia, with scientists, with the like, to make certain that we had a good perspective on what is happening to the nature of knowledge work and how that is evolving, and put a point of view together on how companies really need to think about evolving their business and operation strategies to adapt to this. So we call this journey, and the end point in that journey, becoming the frontier firm. With the new capabilities of AI to do more and more reasoning in our organizations, they can help reason, or AI can help reason and solve problems. We have this intelligence on tap, and it's really rewriting the way businesses can operate. It's transforming the nature of knowledge work all up. With these agents in particular, increasing the level of capability over time, we want to make certain that we're thinking about this holistically and how this can be adapted in your organizations. What's emerging, and what we've called the frontier firm, is a new blueprint for how enterprises operate in this space, and how they build systems and capabilities in their organization to have AI reasoned but human-led capabilities in the enterprise. And as you can imagine, there's a technology component to that, as well as a human factors component to that. What I will say is, based on this research, and I've got a QR code for it if you'd like to see it at the end of the presentation, 82% of leaders say this is a pivotal year to be rethinking their business and operations strategy in that front. Okay, so what does this look like for a firm that's on this journey? I'm certain at this point, every single person in this convention has played with LLMs in some form or another to experiment with how they can help them in their individual productivity. And that's really this first phase we're talking about, that every employee has an AI assistant to help them with their day-to-day activities and productivity. This tends to be focused on a little bit more of what I refer to as the mechanics of your job instead of the heart of your job. So getting some of the core research out of the way, getting it summarized, so you can now start thinking about what you want to do in reaction to that. The second phase of this journey really tends to focus on AI as colleagues, so individual agents that become skilled in specific activities that perform a job function within your team that you start relying on, and tends to build on the knowledge of your collective team to be able to assist you. But again, focusing on getting friction out of the work, eliminating some of the mechanical aspects of your work, and allowing your teams again to be more productive. This third phase is the one that I think is most interesting, because now every employee becomes an agent boss. And what I mean by that is individuals in your organization are going to need to become versant in how agents work, what their what their boundaries are, what their limitations are, and they're going to need to be orchestrating multiple agents to help them achieve their job. So every person, from an entry-level person all the way up through executives in your organization, is now a team leader, but some of those teams are going to be AI agents. So I think really thinking about how this happens over time in your organizations and what the kind of skills and capabilities your organizations are going to need to be able to manage this is going to be really important. The possibilities are endless, but this is not going to be a linear journey either. In some parts of your organization, it may make sense to go relatively rapidly. In other parts of your organization, it's going to be vital to become very deliberate about this and very careful. And that's going to tend to be areas where they're impacting revenue, where you've got regulatory or legal issues you need to deal with, and things of that nature. So this journey is going to be all over the place, but as leaders in media companies, we need to start thinking about how this is going to impact our overall operations and how we're going to skill our organizations over time to deal with this. Okay, so what does this look like for a news media agency? Think about all the activities as say a news broadcaster would do in their day-to-day operations. This could be everything from program and editorial planning, defining your content lineup, field reporting, your ad sales operations, the segments scheduling, managing the actual broadcast itself, the quality of that broadcast, et cetera, dealing with the real-time stuff like on-air graphics, viewer interaction and community engagements as you extend to subscriber services that support your broadcast operations, and dealing with the feedback loop on the back end, ratings, audience feedback, et cetera, feeding back into your content. And throughout that entire value chain of operations, there are possibilities where you can build agents to do, again, those core tasks that are time consuming, that are the mechanics of your job, and that can help you automate some of those functions and then support you in your full-on operations. I've got some examples here. Feel free to take pictures. They're just some ideas. There's some of these things that are things that our customers and we are doing in this space. But I like people to think about their whole entire operation and think about where you can reduce friction, where you can get those mechanical pieces of the job out of the way, whether it's your on-air graphics or whether it's all the financial forecasting time your finance team spend on sales forecasting, or your ad team spend on audience analytics, getting the mechanics out of the way so now your teams can focus on what are they going to do about it, how should your business react, how should you adapt your strategies to move forward. So this was one of my favorite slides. All right, so let's go into a real example. A colleague of mine built this demonstration. It's a live system, although I've got it recorded so we can get through it quickly. This was a live system. It was an agentic flow that showed how agents could be used to support the newsroom process from an agentic flow perspective. It starts with research, with incoming a story idea and research to pull the resources together to help write the story, authoring the story, so helping put a draft together, including quality checks and those types of things from a brand standards and compliance standards perspective. And then on the back end, publishing to various platforms, whether it's digital, social media, your subscription site, et cetera, and really focusing on what needs to happen so that you can actually take advantage of that story across multiple platforms and provide your content in the place and the format that your consumers most want to consume it. So this is an example. Again, I'm going to run this here. We're going to go ahead and cue the video, and hopefully we'll hear the audio.
This is the Pulse.
Pretty quick, but
where AI agents for research, content generation, and compliance collaborate with a human in the loop to accelerate content production for multiple channels and audiences. We're going to select a pre-staged story for story intake on the left. This breaking news story, targeted at a general audience, is about a major hurricane. Let's kick off our flow. The pipeline on the right shows that the first agent is already working. This agent acts as our editor-in-chief to triage the story, assessing priority and deciding which agents to run, then creating the assignment. The content safety agent scans the incoming information, checking for harmful content, prompt injection, PII exposure, and data classification. This uses Azure AI Content Security for deep analysis and logging. The next three agents focus on preparation, research, and analysis of pertinent content for this story. The researcher agent uses Azure AI Search with a local content knowledge base, pulling related content, source materials, sample editorial content, and guidelines. In broader applications, this would take in live AP feeds, archive stories, and market-specific data. This grounds the agent in real information using RAG to avoid hallucination. Moving on, the speech agent uses Azure AI Speech Services to analyze the audio, producing transcripts, detecting languages, and transitions between speakers for content such as field audio, press conferences, interviews, and the like. Analysis includes segment counts and duration by speaker. Three distinct Dragon HD Omni voices provide broadcast quality narration generated by Azure AI Speech.
Good evening. I'm Mark Davis. We're following breaking news as a major hurricane approaches the Gulf Coast. Let's go live to our reporter, Jennifer Lee, who is in New Orleans.
Thanks, Mark. The situation here is tense.
Next, the video agent leverages Azure Video Indexer for scene detection, face identification, and extraction of on-screen text via OCR. Moderation capabilities also classify content to help confirm that it is audience appropriate. With preparation activities complete, the next 4 steps focus on writing and verifying the story. The writer agent takes all the research, transcripts, and video insights and drafts a broadcast quality article using Azure OpenAI and GPT 4.1. Notice the word count, tone analysis, and key quotes that are extracted automatically. Next, the fact checker agent extracts every verifiable claim from the article and grades each one. It cross-references against the same Azure AI search knowledge base used earlier. An LLM assesses the plausibility of each claim, creates a confidence score, and flags anything that may need verification before publishing. This becomes increasingly powerful as more broadcast content is indexed and made available to the agent. Now we move to outbound security checks. The security and brand agent scans the story looking for PII leakage, harmful content, or anything that shouldn't go on air. Scan results are logged in the activity feed, along with every decision and every confidence score. Finally, the compliance agent performs legal and editorial policy reviews, searching for FCC regulation issues, libel risk, source attribution, and editorial standards. The validation is grounded in broadcaster editorial standards and the FCC broadcast compliance requirements. These last 2 agents are hard gates. If the security and compliance scans find anything of concern, the pipeline stops immediately and the content is flagged for human review. The final steps of the agentic flow focus on creating derivative content from the newly completed story. The SEO agent generates optimized headlines, descriptions, and keywords, along with pre-written social media copy for Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn, all tailored for maximum engagement. The podcast agent converts the story into a 2-host podcast episode, generating the full script with related segments. This agent uses Azure AI Speech, generating a natural broadcast-ready conversation. Let's listen to part of the recording.
Today on Pulse Daily, a major hurricane, now Category 4, is charging toward the Gulf Coast, forcing the evacuation of over 1 million people and threatening to disrupt everything from fuel supplies to daily life across the country. We'll break down what's happening, what's at stake, and what comes next.
It's a tense day for folks along the Gulf. So, Alex.
Our final content creation agent, the translation agent, produces localized versions of the story in French, Spanish, and German. Translations are scored to increase confidence in translation quality. This enables broadcasters to scale to markets with multilingual audiences that may have otherwise been underserved. Closing out the agentic flow, our editor-in-chief confirms all activities are complete, reviewing every agent's output, fact-check scores, compliance status, security scans, etc., and then makes the decision to publish the content. Now let's look at the value of this intelligent content for the consumer-facing experience. Using this chatbot, the consumer interacts with the content using natural language. Note that in the background, an ad placement agent works to surface ads that take into account the user context, such as location and the questions asked, increasing the value of broadcast advertising inventory. In closing, the Agentic Newsroom provides a broadcast quality article, a 2-host podcast episode, multi-voice audio narration, 3 translations for multilingual markets, and social media copy optimized for search engines, all with compliant, fact-checked content following brand guidelines to help broadcasters reduce time to market, scale, and provide to consumers with a more personalized experience.
Okay, so that was an example. This is actually a live demonstration, although I recorded it. And what I wanted to point out is the ability throughout this workflow, whether it's fully automated or injected with human interaction throughout, authoring the article, reviewing the contents, etc. We're pulling in things like your enterprise knowledge about brand compliance and the tones of stories that you would like to see to be able to help support the authoring of this kind of content, and then taking it after the fact and producing it for the platforms, again, where your consumers are actually preferring to consume your content. So bear with me for a second. I've got to re-authenticate against my device here. But in the meantime, I'm going to move into what that architecture looks like and showing how our entire platform is actually supporting this particular capability. So from the ground level, we're leveraging capabilities in the typical architecture you would see would leverage our WorkIQ and FabricIQ capabilities. WorkIQ being access to your enterprise knowledge. Think about everything in your M365 ecosystem, your Teams recordings, etc., your brand guidelines, all of that being surfaced through WorkIQ with a semantic layer on top of that to be able to reason over that content. FabricIQ integrating with your data sources and external data feeds for like AP feeds and newswires and the like, to be able to bring all that data and reason over it. We've got a series of Foundry AI capabilities built into that, and the intelligent layer for reasoning, including our LLM services in this particular use case, video indexer, AI speech, AI content security, to be able to do all the reasoning, and a series of agents that are all orchestrated by this orchestrator that we've kind of nicknamed our editor-in-chief, pulling all of this together. On top of that, Agent 365, helping on the orchestration side as well as monitoring and operations to ensure we've got a well-governed and monitored environment. And then obviously from a UI perspective, the Agent UI we built itself, but also feeding out the results of this back to consumer-facing channels. One point I missed here was the back-end app services and MCP services that it's all coming in our platform. So you can see this is an example of how we would build an agentic flow for a newsroom or any workflow. It could be creative workflow. This could be financial forecasting. It could be all kinds of things. But we're bringing the depth of our entire platform and its capabilities for data integration, for knowledge integration, AI reasoning, and orchestration from an agentic layer to provide solutions to help you on your journey to becoming a frontier firm. With that, I think I'm going to close. Hopefully, I'm right on time. Perfect. If you need more information, the Work Trends Index I referred to at the beginning of this talk, I'm very fond of this work. I think it's really insightful work for your leadership team to help you in the conversations you need to have with your leadership to get behind what you're trying to do with agentic flows. Obviously, our product information, feel free to grab that. And if you need to connect with me, that's my LinkedIn profile. If you do reach out, please do send me a message right away and remind me where I met you and what you're looking for assistance on. And I will do my best to be responsive after I take a little time off after NAB. I hope you enjoy the rest of the conference and that you spend time in our booth seeing more about the products and services that we talked about here, and enjoy the rest of the conference.